Okay, so here we are live once again with another DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is Hal Jordan armor suit from Superman: The Return of Superman. Did we need to say Superman: The Return of Superman? Couldn't we just say The Return of Superman? Like Superman's already in the title. We don't need to call it Superman: The Return of Superman. Like what's up with that? I don't understand that at all. It's like if they had have made Batman Returns entitled Batman Batman Returns, you don't need to do that. Batman's name is already in the title. What are you doing? So, you want to have Superman be the first word in the title? Then just make it call Superman Returns. That story came out before that movie came out anyway. So why not do that? And head over Diecast is here and says hello, hello, my friend. Well, hello, hello, right back at you. Good to see you. So this is a figure, as the name would suggest, that's from the Death of Superman storyline, specifically the Return of Superman segment of it. That was actually in the actual issues. It was called Reign of the Supermen, but that's because at first it starts out with like four potential people that could maybe be Superman resurrected. Turns out it was none of them. Superman shows up maybe in like the last third, maybe last quarter of the story. And he's got that cool black outfit with the sick mullet, and doesn't have his superpowers back yet, but he's still ready to kick some ass and take down the cyborg Superman who had just destroyed Coast City, which, by the way, was the hometown of this guy, one Hal Jordan, aka Green Lantern, whose name is not on the box. They put Superman's name twice on the box. They don't put Green Lantern once. They just call this guy Hal Jordan. It's like if we had this figure and we just called it Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like what's up with that? There's a lot of odd things in how they named this figure. I don't understand. And this is one I got on Amazon for cheap. The package is somewhat a little bit smushed in. I've had packages that are worse than this from Amazon, though, that they charge me full price for. So the the cellophane came a little loose in the front too. But yeah, this artwork is by Mark Bright, one of the best Green Lantern artists, I think. Sadly, passed away a few years back, way too soon, as far as I'm concerned. He was a very talented artist. Drew a lot of great comics, drew a lot of Batman, drew a lot of GI Joe. Worked on the Milestone comics. He drew Icon, which was one of my favorite of the Milestone comics. I've always been a big admirer of MD Bright, Mark Bright, Doc Bright. He's gone by a lot of names, but he's been awesome as all of them. So, rest in peace, big guy. Still love your stuff. So, this figure actually is a retool of Steel, and it kind of makes sense that Hal would base his costume off of Steel because that's who he got this mallet from. So he ringed up this armor while he was fighting against Mongol, who of course is a big yellow guy, and Green Lantern his ring has a weakness against yellow, so he armored up and beat the hell out of him with a big hammer. So, but yeah, I guess it would make sense if he just seen Steel. Maybe that would be some of the inspiration there. Hey, maybe I should make a suit of armor like that guy, and that's what he did. So and you can tell it's not like 100% accurate because again they reused a lot of parts from Steel, and I don't mind that they did that. I think that it works out pretty well. It definitely gets the point across the armor, but you can see things like he's got a belt, and this armor suit does not have a belt, but it still looks kind of vaguely like Steel. We're going to talk about some of the parts that are the same and some of the parts that are different once I get them out of the package. But yeah, since Hal Jordan's hometown was destroyed, they had to kind of tie in the Green Lantern comic to Death of Superman, and that wound up having some major repercussions because that also wound up kind of driving Hal Jordan crazy for a little bit, and he became the supervillain known as Parallax. But we talked a little bit about that in the Sinestro issue before. That eventually they wound up retconning all that away and decided he was possessed by an evil fear demon that made Hal Jordan into a psychopath. But yeah, I'm gonna snip all the rubber tabs holding this guy in. My little snips here, and that one was kind of a weird place. This rubber tab went underneath where the shin armor is. This one went over the shin armor. I gotta say the one that went over the shin armor worked better as far as me being able to cut it. And here he is out of the package. And then we have, of course, the hammer. And I believe that's the same exact mold as the hammer that came with steel, but it's a different color. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we have a trading card and a figure stand, and the figure stand and the trading card are unfortunately not on the same bubble, but I was able to get the trading card out just fine anyway. There's what the front of it looks like with the same piece of Mark Bright artwork. There's what the back of it looks like, and it reads, Hal Jordan, armored suit, Superman, the returned Superman, data file, real name, Hal Jordan. Wow, Hal Jordan's real name is Hal Jordan. Who would have thought? Like, why did they call this character? Why don't they just call him Green Lantern? Like every other Green Lantern figure that I've ever had just says Green Lantern on it. And if it's Hal Jordan, it says Green Lantern. Sometimes it might say Green Lantern Hal Jordan. I don't think I've ever had one that just said Hal Jordan. That's just weird. To me, even Guy Gardner. Usually, most of his figures are labeled Guy Gardner, but if you just labeled it Green Lantern, that would make sense to me. I'm kind of used to his figures just being labeled Guy Gardner, though, because everybody just calls Guy Gardner Guy Gardner. I never hear anybody call him Green Lantern. He's always Guy Gardner. I hear people call Hal Jordan Green Lantern. I hear people call John Stewart Green Lantern. I hear people call Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. Guy Gardner's Guy Gardner. Anyway, where was I? Hal Jordan evades missiles and enters Engine City. He attacks Mongol as a defeated Superman and Supergirl look on. Mongol gains the upper hand, injuring Hal's knee and arm, taunting him as the power ring has no effect on anything yellow. Hal fights the pain and uses the ring to make a suit of armor. He then hits Mongol with John Henry Irons' hammer. Hal meets up with Superboy, Supergirl, and John Henry Irons. So he doesn't get a superhero name either. He's not called Steel on here. He's just called John Henry Irons. Of course, when you got a name as cool as John Henry Irons, do you really need a superhero name? They break through a heavy door and find Superman battling with the cyborg Superman. They choose not to intervene, and they watch Superman defeat the cyborg. After the battle, Hal contemplates using his ring to bring Coast City back. Yeah, I'm sure nothing bad will come of that. Yeah. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Steel. So Steel, this figure came out a few years back. I opened him a little while ago, maybe a year or so ago, and you can see his hammer got a little warped because he was in storage for a minute. I need to straighten that out. I'm gonna start putting some of my figures on shelves soon, hopefully. But the hammer, it does to me look like it's the same hammer. It's just this one is much more of a matte, kind of bluish gray, whereas this one was molded in like a metallic shade of plastic. Still kind of a bluish gray, but just a little, you can see it's got a little bit more of a metallic sheen to it. But it seems to be the same mold, at least. Steel has a different torso than what Hal Jordan has. Although to me, it looks like it might be the same base torso underneath, and it's just this breastplate, like the light green part there, the very light green part, that's different. That's just kind of layered over the top of the Steel breastplate. You see, his breastplate is the Superman S, but it's his own version of the Superman S, which came later. So this isn't really accurate to the character at that time. We're nitpicking. And also it's got the cape on there. So I think they just made this whole breastplate to cover up all of that. And these shoulder pieces are the same shoulder pieces that are on Steel already. And he's got different forearms, because you can see Steel has like the smaller bracer here and the larger bracer with the rivet gun on it. He could shoot rivets at people, which was pretty cool. but Hal has two completely different forearms. I think they might just be bracers, like different bracers over the same forearms, but you know what I mean. And they got like this little bit of like a joint in the armor there sculpted into it, and they look kind of like Iron Man's gauntlets, slightly more detailed, but other than that, they're very similar to the gauntlets that Iron Man had when I was growing up reading Iron Man, starting in the 1960s on through the 70s and the 80s, where I finally started reading was in the 80s. But while they gave him a new breastplate and new head, obviously, and new bracers on the forearms, they did not bother to give him new trunks. So he still has the same utility belt that Steel has, and he has the same boots that Steel has. Yay, it's Captain Have Fun. How you doing? He says, "Yo, brother, I got that Steel figure from Mafex. I'm still trying to find a used one from Mcfarlane uh, just to complete this set. Neat Green Lantern figure. Oh hell yeah!" And you know, like I'm a big fan of the Death of Superman storyline, so I had to get this guy. I kind of eventually just want to have a big Death of Superman shelf with all the Death of Superman characters on there. You know, put Steel on there and Superboy and Cyborg Superman. And I did finally get Eradicator. I don't know if you'd seen that I'd mentioned that, but since you're here, still got this guy we still need to open, and I've been meaning to get a hold of you, but like I mentioned earlier in the episode, I've been literally working like every single day, so there's just not really been like a good time. But I do want to definitely meet up with you and do this one. And then I got more Superman stuff to open that week. So, did I get any of the Batman Returns figures? Asked Captain Have Fun. And I did manage to pre-order Catwoman and the Penguin. I didn't manage to get any of the other ones, but you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Hopefully I'll be able to find them at some point at retail. Hopefully I'll get lucky. That sound is indeed me knocking on wood. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So yeah, they did a really good job sculpting the head. The helmet looks a lot like what we saw in the comic book, which we can compare with the back here. This kind of strange oblong shaped helmet with this kind of funky, bulky chin strap with this kind of rounded piece in the middle of it. You can see a little bit more of his face on the figure than we could the piece of artwork on the back. But I believe that depending on the angle, yeah, you could see his mouth a little easier if we tilt it up. That's kind of more the angle that it was on the package, and you can see that it does kind of mostly cover up his mouth. Head over Diecast says, these days crazy for me at work too. Yep, see, like for the past few weeks up until recently, I have not had enough hours at work, and I've been kind of hurting for some hours actually. So you know, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Eventually, they gave me more hours, but I think just to make sure they shut me up, they gave me like too many hours now. But I think I'd rather be exhausted with a little bit of money in the bank than be just flat broke and still kind of exhausted. Captain Have Fun says, I was so mad that Mcfarlane was selling out before 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I refreshed at 8:47 and it wasn't there. They sold out in about 10 minutes. I was lucky to get mine. I hope Mattel can meet fan needs. You and me both. Yeah, I got mine on GameStop. I think it was. They still had a few left by the time I got to it, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to just find some of those at retail. I would like to have the Max Shrek and the Penguin Commandos and of course Batman himself. Now, if I don't get Batman, you know, I've got like at least the 1989 Batman, so it's not like I don't have a Michael Keaton Batman figure, and honestly, that's my favorite Batsuit anyway. Although I think they did a better job with the Batman Returns figure than they did with the Batman 1989. Despite how I might prefer the 89 suit over the Batman Returns suit, but you know, the Batman Returns suit is really cool too. I like both of those. So anyway, let's go ahead and man, that's a stiff joint. We'll talk about his articulation some. So Green Lantern can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. He can tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. It would have been nice if they had given this guy a removable helmet. I think that would have been really cool. I'm not saying that it detracts from the figure to not have a removable helmet, and you're probably going to want to display this figure with the helmet anyway. But I like having removable helmets. That's just me. So, of course, the arms rotate all the way around at the shoulder, and he does have that cool Mcfarlane butterfly joint. And even though the shoulder plates do kind of interfere with the arm movement somewhat, they don't interfere with it as much as you might think. I do wish they'd found a way to put them onto the deltoid instead, because then they would look like they were in the right place all the time. By the way, let's get a look at some of the detail on the back here. And I know it's kind of hard to see some of the detail on the back because he is in this fluorescent green, and it doesn't actually photograph the best, but there is a lot of good sculpted detail in there that I really like. And I'm missing some comments. Head Over Diecast says, "Oh my God, yes, Mattel and Hot Wheels is so hard to get. The Hot Wheels page too, it's crazy. Like 1 minute to 4 minutes sold out." Captain Half Fun says GameStop put them on there so late. I was refreshing GameStop. Batman Returns has a better face sculpt. Looks similar to Beast Kingdom. Waiting on the Beast Kingdom penguins. Who will come first? That's a good question. To me, like I think the main problem with the 89 Batman is like the way that the head connects to the neck. Like I think the neck looks too narrow, or the like in terms of like how the head fits on. And part of the problem with that is that just the way that cowl is, putting a joint into it is gonna kind of just as it is make it somewhat inaccurate. And I did somewhere around here have the old NECA 1989 Batman. I just saw it while I was looking for something else the other day. So of course, now that I'm looking for that, it's now that's gonna pull a vanishing act on me, isn't it? But I did have that Batman around here somewhere. But where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is that it? Yeah, here we go. See, with the NECA, when they did their 1989 Batman, they didn't even bother to put an articulation in there. So technically, there's an articulation, where the cowl meets the torso, but then that winds up turning his whole emblem and cape and all that around. So Batman can't turn his head anyway. Batman is never able to turn his head in this outfit, so you don't need head. I don't know why they'd even put the articulation on there. So I think it works better if you just have like a solid. And he doesn't need to turn his head, because like bad guys will come up behind him and just punches backwards like that and punches him. Batman does not need to turn his head. That's why he doesn't, have the articulation in the cowl like that. I am missing a whole lot of comments, aren't I? So Jose Membrane says, "Which lantern is this?" And Jose Membrane says, "Captain Have Fun has cool videos." He sure does. Captain Have Fun says, "Head Over Diecast, I've heard about that problem. My friend loves Hot Wheels. Did you get the Diecast 89 with the Batmobile? It looked really cool." Captain Have Fun says, "Diecast, I mean Batman Forever. It's his regular costume he wears for most of the film, not the sonar suit." Well, that's cool, because we don't really see that one very much. Going back to Jose Membrane asked what lantern this is. It's Hal Jordan, and this is from specifically, in case you missed it, this is from the Death of Superman storyline, specifically at the end of the Death of Superman storyline, after Cyborg and Mongol have destroyed Coast City, and Green Lantern is out for some revenge, because that's Hal Jordan's hometown. So then Head Over Diecast says, Captain Have Fun says, "I missed out. I wish I could get that one. Did you get the Back to the Future release? Did you see that?" So yeah, I funnily enough, I actually did pick up some Back to the Future action figures recently, so I'll have those to open up sometime soon. November 5th is just right around the corner, isn't it? So kind of serendipitous. I should pick those up at this time. I've never had any Back to the Future action figures, so I'm excited about those. So where was I? I was talking about the articulation. Okay, so He does have a bicep swivel, so the bicep rotates all the way around. I probably shouldn't have put the hammer in his hand until after I did the articulation, but derp. What else? What are you gonna do? So you got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. He does have the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation, so we can move these wrists around pretty much any which way you want to. Now, unfortunately, he only has one gripping hand, and it's a very tight grip. I had to struggle to get that hammer into his hand. But thankfully, the way this hand is posed is kind of an open gesturing hand, but you can still kind of fit it around the hammer and still get a good two-handed pose out of it. I think it works out really well. MHD is here. He says, "Hello, I'm a little late. Do you like it? The figure? I'm liking the figure so far. It's pretty cool." Head over Diecast says, "I can't wait to see the Back to the Future stuff that you picked up." Yeah, one of them was one I got at Ross, and the other one was one I found at Walmart because Walmart had a whole bunch of NECA stuff that was at a discounted price. I think that it's supposed to be like a Halloween tie-in because they had some like mostly like horror movie type stuff and things like Alien and that sort of thing. But they did have a few other just kind of genre characters. But I'll show you one thing that I got, and this will be something I open up on October. We're gonna do a lot of Halloween stuff in October. I got the creature from the Black Lagoon, and you can see they had him special price $24.97, and the Doc Brown figure I picked up was the same thing. Oops, did I say the Doc Brown figure? But I didn't say which Doc Brown figure did I? Oh, and speaking of Halloween, I'm finally going to open up this guy this month, which I've been meaning to open up. Migo Nosferatu. We're going to have a lot of cool Halloween stuff. I love Halloween. So head over to, I'm sorry, Captain Have Fun says, head over to Drycast. Yes, I have the magnetic hovering DeLorean. I remember seeing that with all the lights. Send it back to Beast Kingdom to fix something small, but it's been months and they're not responding to emails. Oh, that's unfortunate. MHD says, I saw him yesterday on a pretty low price, was considering buying him. Head over Diecast says, oh man, have fun. Did you post a video of it? I'll check it out. There is. He does have it on one of the videos he did with me. I know it's on there. So and he might have his own video of it too. If not, that's too bad. That's unfortunate. Yeah, and it's the original Nosferatu. It's the Jose Membrane gave Nosferatu a thumbs up. So yeah, it's the original, the 1920s Nosferatu, not the newer movie. But I got a custom figure I'm working on of that. But we'll just see how that turns out later. Captain Penfun says, "Sweet, I have some old Hollywood NECAs plus Freddy's glove. I do not touch that. Sharp." I'll bet. Yeah, like I've got the old school monsters of NECA. I don't have as many as I would like. I've got Dracula because Dracula is like my most favorite. So I have the figure that they put out a couple of Dracula figures, Bela Lugosi Dracula, but I have the first one. The one with the medallion. They also have the one with the monocle that and the top hat that they came out with recently. That one's really cool. I want to get that one. I have the glow in the dark versions of Frankenstein and the Wolfman and Dracula, and I actually just ordered a glow in the dark Bride of Frankenstein. So I do love the glow in the dark figures because I really liked the Remco figures when I was a kid. Captain Have Fun says, made a short vid for Beast Kingdom and posted it. Made a vid for a friend who loves Back to the Future. Don't we all? I can post that one for you if you want. So yeah, post it for me. Well, yeah, post it for Head Over Diecast too. So, but I want to see it. Oh, so I'm getting distracted. Let's get back to the articulation. So, Green Lantern has a cool Mcfarlane torso articulation. He can bend back and forth about that far. Pretty cool. He can bend backwards about that far, so you can get him into a pretty cool flying pose. Which Steel you want to get into a good flying pose too, don't you? He can bend forward about that far, and of course he's articulated at the where he can rotate all the way around, where the rib cage meets the abs, and where the abs meet the trunks. So a lot of good articulation there. Green Lantern can kick up about that far, which is pretty good for a guy in an armored suit, isn't it? He does have a little bit of a wobble here, not a whole lot, but a little more than Mcfarlane figures usually have. And then we got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. No boot cut, even though this does look to be a separate piece of plastic. They could have made it a boot cut if they wanted to. But it does have the cool Mcfarlane ankle articulation, which rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the foot and where the ankle meets the shin. But the honestly, the armor does kind of bump into that a little bit. Actually, I don't think that is where you can rotate it where it meets the shin, because there's a pin through this, isn't there? But it's fine. It's big clunky boots, so you can get it to move around as much as you want to. Jose Membrane says, didn't Bela Lugosi get buried in his original Dracula costume? Yes, actually he did. When Bela passed away in the 1950s, they had him buried in his at his request, buried in his Dracula cape. So very complicated relationship between the actor and the character he portrayed. I think he felt a lot of gratitude for the opportunities that Dracula bought him, but at the same time, I think he felt a little stymied by the fact that people tended to just think of him as Dracula. And great actor with a lot of great performances and a lot of great movies. And some people would even argue that Dracula isn't even his best Universal Monsters character. Some people would argue that his finest performance in any of the Universal Monsters movies was as Igor in the Frankenstein films, Son of Frankenstein and Ghost of Frankenstein. And I think I don't know if I would agree, but I don't know if I disagree either. He's fantastic in those movies. So Captain Have Fun says, I used to work at Lugosi's old house, the one he had when he was doing well. It's Mi Casa Music Studio. Nice. So yeah, like I remember the little house that he lived in when he wasn't doing quite so well, but a little more modest. They used in the background of Plan 9 from Outer Space and some of the scenes that he shot in that. And of course, that's in the movie Ed Wood, where he was played by Martin Landau. But yeah, like I got the Dracula figure here. We can take a look at him real quick since I'm done talking about Green Lantern now. But they did a great job with this. The likeness is awesome. The details are really good. I freaking love this figure. And the glow in the dark figure is really cool too. Although the paint job is obviously a lot more simplified because it's supposed to look like an 80s action, more like the 80s action figure, the one that I had in the 80s. But but of course, like having had that figure as a kid, it pushes my nostalgia button. So I'm not sure which figure I like best between the two of them. I think they're both really cool. This one obviously is a much more realistic portrait of Lugosi, and they did a black and white version of this one too, I think. But I don't have that one. I do really want to get the I have the glow in the dark versions, like I said, but I want to try to get the more realistic versions of Frankenstein and the Wolfman. Oh yeah, and I've got the mummy figure that I still need to open up, the unwrapped mummy. So that'll be another one we'll have coming up for Halloween. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up for Halloween, and I got a lot of I'm gonna open up some of the He-Man stuff probably in the next week. I think I'm going to open up the cartoon collection stuff because I'm itching to open up some of the He-Man and G.I. Joe stuff. But I also got Halloween coming up, and I realized, oh yeah, I got a lot of Halloween stuff I got to open. So we should have some cool stuff on the way for that. Max Games and Toys is here, and he says looks great. I agree. I don't know which figure you're talking about because I've been showing a bunch of figures here recently, but they all look really cool to me. So you're right. Head over Diecast Loves, love the mummy figure. Jose Membrane says, just in time for Halloween. Yes, indeed. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for Hal Jordan here. And that wraps up our look at these DC Multiverse Green Lantern. You're talking about Dracula. Hell yeah, Dracula. So we'll show him again since you mentioned him again. Yeah, he's awesome. He's got the ring and everything. See the ring sculpted into it. On the glow in the dark figure, they paint over the ring. It's just part of the flesh. But again, that's probably how they would have done it in the 80s. They probably wouldn't have painted it anyway. Head over to Diecast says, I'll go over and help you open up some figures. It's all about the timing is the thing. And I get really kind of like nitpicky about like I want to open up these sections of figures, but I decided I'll go ahead and divide up the. I got three different lines of He-Man figures that I'm collecting, so I can break those up. So I can do some He-Man and then do some Halloween stuff, and then get back onto some He-Man, or maybe even do some GI Joe because I got a lot of GI Joe stuff to do. And hell, I got two different lines of GI Joe stuff to do because I got the Super 7 ring stuff, and I got the classified stuff. So I got tons of GI Joe stuff to open up. I got I got this guy just the other day, which they got him at my local Walmart, Crystal Ball, and he'd be a good guy to open up on Halloween too, wouldn't he? Because he's a creepy fellow. And got Major Blood. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to opening those up. And of course, other G.I. Joe stuff that I think I've shown on this channel before that I've got ready to open up. The Armored Cobra Commander, the 90s version of Snake Eyes. I got Footloose. I got the Crag Viper. I got Law and Order. Oh, we got so much GI Joe stuff coming. It's crazy. Captain Have Fun says I'll try to get the DeLorean vid up to date. It's on a card and my Twitter/X. So if you want to check that out and don't want to wait for him to load it up on YouTube, you can always go to his X handle and check it out there. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for Green Lantern. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Check out Captain Have Fun's channel. He's got a lot of fun stuff to watch, and hopefully we'll get around to doing that other collab soon. Hopefully when my work week isn't quite as insane as it's been. But yeah, next episode I'm gonna get onto some of that cartoon collection stuff. And we'll go ahead and start off with Bo. I think that'll be the appropriate one to start off with. If I play my cards right, maybe I can start Halloween by talking about Shadow Weaver, because she's a creepy character, isn't she? So that'll fit in just fine. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so make sure that you like and subscribe. Hit the little bell if that's still a thing. I haven't seen the little bell in a while. I'm kind of worried about it. I hope it's doing okay. Do that hype thing. I don't know what that even means, but do it anyway because I guess it's good. Whatever. And that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.